Hello out there.
Hello out there in internet
All the
land.
ships at sea.
Internet. Very good, Derek. Derek, everyone, we haven't even discussed a little bit what we're going to talk about today. I was, in fact, in the middle of another conversation when Derek just decided to start the live stream. That's how we do it.
What? You're in the middle of another conversation. It's 8 o'clock. It's time to start the live stream.
That
Why
is
are
true.
you in the middle of another conversation?
That's a great question. I'm also
Be ready.
I'm also in this Airbnb in Williamsburg. It's not my normal spot. I'm all torn apart. But we did turn on.
Oh, it's all right.
We did turn on. What is the thing that Jake turned off by mistake last time?
Super chats?
Chats. So yeah, you could all pay us to ask our great.
Yeah, that. Well, I thought we could take some questions. Actually, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, give us some. We need your questions. Throw us the.
We could also talk about this batshit story from
Derek,
it's broken. It's already broken. We swear all the time.
Family program about imperialism.
It's not a family program.
You're going to destroy us. You're going to destroy us here.
Okay. No, this story out of the Middle East, where there are apparently sailors jumping off of the Abraham Lincoln, or trying to jump off of the Abraham Lincoln, because they've been at sea for 250 days.
Yes. So actually,
without calling it port for like the last 200 days, just ridiculous.
Funnily enough, Derek, I was contacted by a media organization today to discuss this, and I had no idea what they were talking about. So,
all right.
Why don't you tell me what is this story? People are getting
the Navy Times, and I think Stars and Stripes also reported this earlier in the week. Like, there have been multiple incidents of sailors trying to jump off of the Abraham Lincoln. They've been deployed for 250 days. They were supposed to rotate back to the U.S. in May. That's been indefinitely. Well, not anymore now that the bad press is out. But that deployment was indefinitely extended so that they could participate in the forever war against Iran. And like there's been other reporting, in dribs and drabs about this. But they're running out of like food. They're running out of toothpaste, like basic, the basic things that people rely on to live somewhat normal existence, or as normal as you can in that situation. And that, combined with the stress of just being at sea in a combat mode for this extensive period of time, they are they're starting to crack. And so there have been these reports of like nobody's actually made it. Thankfully, nobody's actually jumped off the ship, but multiple reports of people like stopping sailors from leaping off of the aircraft carrier. They were supposed to be replaced by the Theodore Roosevelt, the USS Theodore Roosevelt, but the Navy had given them no timetable for that. Now that the bad press is out, they are hurriedly redeploying the George Washington, which is currently in the South China Sea. To everybody's point about this war is going to destroy any semblance of U.S. deterrence or military presence in East Asia. They're now racing to get the George Washington, which has been doing this like show of force, like visiting with all the allies in the South China Sea, or all the countries that have been aggrieved by Chinese activity there. Putting it at various ports of call. They're racing to get that ship to the Middle East so that they can get the Abraham Lincoln back to the U.S. without interrupting the all-important naval blockade, which has to remain in place in perpetuity, achieving nothing of any significance. But we can't allow there to be. We can't allow a naval blockade gap, basically, with the Iranians.
So this seems pretty wild. Like, something like this hasn't really happened in recent years.
I mean, if you recall, like the Gerald Ford, the Gerald Ford, which on this same, ridiculous conflict was deployed to the Eastern Mediterranean for months on end, and had been deployed in the Caribbean to support the mass slaughter of fishermen on fishing boats. And whatever the U.S. was doing, the kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, they deployed that aircraft carrier and its combat group to the Eastern Mediterranean to basically run air cover for Israel and participate to some degree in the bombing of Iran. And there were fires on that ship. Like there were all kinds of problems with infrastructure. The plumbing supposedly started to fail. So they had to put in, I think in somewhere in Greece. I can't remember what port they put into, but it was similar thing. Like, just you can't leave these ships, you can't leave the people, but also the ships out at sea for months and months on end while you just dally around, with whatever your footsie game of footsie you're playing with Iran, and expect to not face any consequences for that. Like, not to have morale crater, not to have systems fail and infrastructure fail. So it's just a function of these people not knowing what they're doing. Pete Hegseth, who goes on and on about how much he loves the Warriors, is treating them like garbage,
as
because
usually happens.
yeah, as is usually the case.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. Wow. So what? Yeah, I mean, it's just, I guess, another further evidence of American decline. I mean, like, I feel like, how do we just not approach all of these things with like another sign of decomposition and decay about like even the middle, like not the Middle East, even the military is unable to sort of do anything. It's just
Well,
the the
yeah.
the decomposition files, throw another one in there, like, or is
I
this like
mean,
a
there was that window. I mean, I think probably in the '90s, where people used to do like stand-up comics. George Carlin used to do this joke. Like, they would do the gag about, like, America can't do anything anymore except bomb people. Like that's the one thing that the United States was still capable of doing, was rolling out the military. And as which Michael Ledeen, I think, was the neocon who said this: throw some puny country against a wall every 10 years to
right,
show any business.
famously, yeah.
Like the US could still do that. Now it can't even do that anymore. Like it's over. Like we're done. But I mean, my question, like, I've had this question for a while now, and I think we've had people on the show to speak to it, and like have kind of broached the subject here and there. But at some point, does there not have to be a complete breakdown in the relationship between the civilian government and the military? Like, you can't do this to the military uh, for this long a period of time. And I know the officer class is all cucked and professionalized, etc. But like, the whole concept of civil military relations at this point seems to me to be just shot.
Yes, it's interesting because this is something that I have focused on very early on in my academic career. Was civil military relations. Actually, one of the people on my committee was this man named Peter Fever, who's actually a really nice guy and a really great scholar. He's pretty right wing, and he served in the George W. Bush administration. But what he focused on was civil military relations. And I wrote a paper with a colleague named Eric Lorber on this issue. And what you wind up finding is that like 99% of the time, like, there's all these civil military breaches in the sense that the military kind of does what it wants and the civilian like doesn't punish them. Probably one that most people would be most aware of is the Don't Ask. So that Clinton came in the early 90s, really wanted to allow gays to serve openly in the military. Gays,
Yeah, and that lasted for like 30 minutes.
But
Yeah, it was like a half hour
yeah, well,
after
because Sam
inauguration. The
Nunn
military was like, "No, we're not going
and
to do that."
Colin Powell, because they united against him.
Yeah,
Like the military like did exactly what it's not supposed to do and basically like subverted the president. And Clinton's like, well, I
yeah.
can't do anything. So like it just seems like civil military relations are just like kind of always bad, particularly since World War II, when the military was really brought into the policy making arena. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just further breakdown, of this entire situation. And it's really hard to get people excited about that topic. I've found that civil military relations are not, what people get
Yeah, I
really.
mean, let there be a coup, and maybe people will get excited about it then. I mean, not that I think there's actually going to be a military coup, but like that's that's the end of the road for that kind of breakdown in relationship. So it's not an insignificant thing, right? I mean, even if it's hard for people to get excited about, it's potentially takes you to some very bad places.
No, it's terrible places. Yeah. What else is going on in the world? Anything else I should be aware of?
Uh, I don't. I mean, we just did news. I think we covered everything.
Yeah, nothing really to
There
cover there.
was. I'm trying to see here. The we got a question, but it's not a super chat, so I don't know if you want me
Oh,
to
so
to
I
respond to it or
who
not.
cares?
Okay, all right, fair enough. We have to
Uh,
enforce some discipline, I
yeah.
guess.
Otherwise, what are we gonna do? They can't put
Right.
the 23 zlotys toward it. So we did the news. So there's a lot going on there. You see any good movies lately, Derek?
No, I mean the last movie I saw. Well, I saw the Spider-Man movie after the Odyssey, so I guess that was the last one I saw. My daughter and I have seen every Marvel movie. I know they're all slop. Don't at me. But we started when she was little. I mean, they've been going on for so long. We started when she was little, and it's like a tradition that we have. So we went to see Spider-Man. Um, and
What do
yeah,
you think of it? Was it good?
I mean, it was fine. It was fine. These things aren't like high art. I get it, but it was an enjoyable couple of hours, and we
So
had a
good.
good time.
You're a
Certainly better than some of the really terrible ones they've been putting out lately.
So what was good about it? Why do you think it worked for you?
Um, I don't know. I mean, it was just they shoehorned a lot of the other characters in, like from other parts of the MCU, and they introduced the X-Men in an interesting way. So I mean, it all kind of was a lot of world building, I guess, but it worked pretty well.
That's pretty good.
And it ended, I think, with a very nice bros before. I won't say bros
I won't
before
say it, Derek. You're
the
gonna
other
get us
word. Yeah, it's
canceled.
gonna get us good. But
Oh, 4.0 is
like
back.
the entire movie, he's trying to convince MJ, trying to get MJ to remember him because, of course, at the end of
Oh,
the
right. It's
last
like
one,
right. He like
everybody
forgot
forgot.
him.
He yeah made everybody. Doctor Strange did the spell to make everybody forget him, and she doesn't remember him. But then he like does his handshake with his buddy Ned, like the handshake that they used to do in high school. And Ned, seems like maybe remembers him. So it was definitely a like guy uh, bros being bros moment, I guess.
So I have a question. How did it reflect imperialist realism? The most important thing.
I mean, it's easier to imagine the end of the world than the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right?
That
Like
is certainly true.
that
Yeah.
that's never going to end.
Yeah. It's yeah, it's pretty yeah, man. I was just never that interested in the Marvel movies. Like it just never really.
When they're good, they're a fine way to kill 2.5 hours or
I
whatever,
just I
and
just for whatever reason it just
be
never
at the
particularly
movies.
attracted me. Like I don't know why.
I don't,
But yeah, I
you
saw
don't take much
Endgame.
away from it, but
Yeah. Oh yeah, was there a post-credit scene?
uh yes, there was a post-credit scene that was I guess leading into the next one, the Doomsday movie. It was basically like well, I don't know if people want me to spoil this, so maybe I should not say it. Although I think it's been out long enough, right? I can say it.
I think so, yeah.
Um so like there's this Ned has been like built this spider tracker to track where Spider-Man is, and he gets a second hit from I guess a second Spider-Man who's like out somewhere in the outer reaches of the solar system. So something weird is going on that will undoubtedly be resolved in the Avengers movie.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. So this whole thing, right, because they're basically trying to reboot it, kind of, right?
Well, I mean they're doing another like big blowout like Infinity War and Endgame.
Right.
So doing 2 movies, and then yeah, I think they're at a point where they're gonna have to figure something out. Like they do have new characters coming in because of course Disney hoovered up Fox and got all the mutants and the Fantastic Four. So they have a lot of new stuff to play with, but still, it's like it's pretty stale at this point.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting. I mean, like, I think I wrote this piece for the Substack about segmentation in movies, and as I argued in this Substack, I just don't think that we're going to ever have a mass culture again coming
What's
back.
interesting, like this summer has been interesting though, because there are, I want to say, 3 basically $1 billion movies out right now, like between Spider-Man, which I don't know if it's crossed a billion yet, but it will, and the Odyssey, which crossed it recently, and Toy Story. So like I'm not to say that that means there's mass culture again, but like the movie theater experience, like you remember just a few years ago, like when Top Gun Maverick came out, it was like, Tom Cruise is saving movie theaters because nobody's going to the movies anymore. And now we're in a summer where it seems to be really just like skyrocketing.
Yeah,
Like
I think.
business
Well, I
really
think there's
booming.
going to be a few giant movies, and that's what they're going to be. And so you're going to have these like 6 to 10 giant movies,
Yeah.
and that's essentially going to be effectively it, I think. And
Yeah, the whole concept of like a middle budget movie like has just gotten lost. I mean, there are these like horror movies, I guess, that have done really well on shoestring budgets, which is another interesting thing. But yeah,
well, the thing, I mean, if you think about it from a particular perspective, movies have actually been in decline. I did the research on it for the Substack piece since the 40s. So in 1946 to 1948, 90 million Americans went to the movies every week, which was something like 73% of the population. And a recent poll showed that only 53% of Americans went to the movies like at least once in the last year. So that's like just an enormous decline in like what mass culture is. So even though you have these giant movies, they just don't compare to what it meant to have da, 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 well, people are complaining in the Derek, people throw you $5 a month and they think they own you.
why? What's going on?
I think they're just kidding around. But yeah, so I think you have this
No, I
decline.
mean, look, like if you want us to talk about real shit and answer your questions, like you got to put the
You
just
gotta,
a
yeah,
couple of bucks. It doesn't have to be a big, but
yeah. This is
we
otherwise
need to,
free.
this is
We're giving you
this is
so much
money. Yeah.
entertainment for free. What did they used to, what was the podcast that used to complain? Like they used to say whenever they would get in, this was like 10 years ago in podcasts. Figure it's like, they're like, it's free. You have no complaints, no complaints here. So yeah, I did nothing really else going on. The Abraham Lincoln thing, that was pretty much it. We talked about anything else.
Yeah, I mean, we did talk about most of what's going on here. I mean, we talked about
Well, I mean, I
the
guess there's the
military alliance, the
Francesca
Saudi
Hahn
thing.
thing. We could talk about that she
Um,
lost because she hates Thanksgiving. Oh wow.
oh yeah, that was. I mean, we could talk politics, I guess. We don't do that on the
No, we
show,
never did it. But
sort of as a
I'm gonna
rule.
read the UOB tube out. The decline of movies is like sports. They're afraid of giving movies space to breathe, contemplative moments. Act is like cricket now, has to be shorter and shorter. I'll share an example. Sorry. No, I mean, I think that does make sense. Although, like, they're really the
I
ultimate
mean,
mass cultural form. They're meant to be seen like
yeah.
with a bunch of people in a movie theater and all of that good stuff. So yeah, so I think there's some truth to
I mean,
that.
there's the cricket example is analogous, I think, to what they've done with baseball. Not that I necessarily disagree with what they've done with baseball, but putting the pitch clock on to
Oh,
shorten
it's
the
the best
game.
thing to
So,
happen to baseball, man, in my opinion.
I mean, baseball
Like you're
needed it, but
you're
yeah.
in and out. It's freaking like I'm a 2-year-old. It's fucking great that you could get in and out of things like that quickly. Um, so no, yeah, that's absolutely excellent. How is Tyler Robinson going to get an impartial jury? I don't know.
Uh,
It
yeah,
seems,
this is not like
I have paid zero attention to that story.
I don't like what's the concern that
Like,
why would he not get an impartial jury? I don't like, is it because they
because like I think the idea is that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, right? right?
Right, but like,
That is
why are
behind
we particularly
that is behind the
concerned
question. Yeah, that is behind the
that
question
like
there.
was Charlie Kirk's fame so vast that nobody's untouched by his memory or something?
Yeah,
I don't know. I just haven't paid attention to the question, and I'm
yeah.
not a legal
Have
person. So,
what's
oh,
a
because Vance got on stage and said he did it. Well, I mean, that's a different question. Like, yeah, okay. I mean, I think
oh, I didn't see it.
you could probably make the argument that not a high enough percentage. There's not a high enough percentage of the American public that treats anything that comes out of JD Vance's mouth as though it's meaningful, um, for that to really be an issue. But yes, I mean, this is a problem in all kinds of cases, right? Where you get a mayor or a governor or somebody mouths off about somebody being guilty and potentially contaminating the jury pool. But I mean, beyond that, I couldn't say specifically on this case.
Yeah, I think that it is difficult. I mean, I imagine that there's just a bunch of things that have to do with sort of celebrity cases like that, right? Like that just has to be a thing that it will be that will naturally always have a problem. But yeah, politics. I mean, Derek, what do you think the red
Oh,
wave is?
I mean, the moderate wave is sweeping the nation, don't you know? Because Crowley won by like 0.00002% of the vote or whatever it was. It was funny because there's been like this wave of pieces, like Politico did one, and I think there's been some others about the moderates just like stopping the progressive wave in its tracks because of this like barely eked out win in the Wisconsin governor's race. Uh, is supposed to somehow prove that there's some big sea change happening in politics. I think she said some kooky things, and people were uncomfortable with it, and
Was the cookie
despite that,
was
but
basically the Thanksgiving thing, right? That's what people really didn't
there
like.
was, I think Thanksgiving was the big one. There might have been some other things. I mean, people like, I don't take a position on this. It's not my area, but people are, I think in general, not on board with the like abolish prisons, abolish police type of rhetoric. Like that freaks people out, normies, if you want to say that. And it's, again, I'm not saying one way or the other about that, but definitely the Thanksgiving thing I think stuck. But despite that, like despite being outspent and despite having these things that seemed strange that she had said, the margin of victory was infinitesimal. So I don't know what it's supposed to prove.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess the real question is the inequality just going to be able to continue indefinitely, um, or not? And I guess TBD. And the big question is, let's
Yeah.
say like all the I'm going to use this not at all pejoratively. I actually support DSA, but let's say all the DSA people do win, then like I'm just curious. I genuinely don't know what's the move then.
Like win in November,
Win
like win the
in general,
general.
right? They win
Yeah.
election.
Because
Election.
this is the argument, right? Is that the DSA can win a primary, or the left can win a primary, but it can't win a contested general election against in a like semi-competitive or competitive place. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to change anybody's priors because moderates lose those kind of races all the time, and that doesn't make
Right.
anybody think anything differently from what they already think. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean they've lost like a ton of papers of races, not papers. Sorry, and so it's like, yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a big question. It would be really interesting to actually see what the what would a plan be, right? Like, if people are going to start winning real elections in a genuine way, what would that look like? How would you actually bring about some form of socialism in some general sense? How would you actually take on the
Well,
empire?
right. I mean,
No, I
if
think no one really knows the answer to that clearly.
if Abdul wins in Michigan, he's what, like the second he's one of like maybe 3 or 4 actual leftists in the U.S. Senate, if that.
Right.
Like, what do you do with those kind of numbers, except continue to be kind of loud and a thorn in people's sides, and push for what you want.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, how would you even uh, take on these people? I mean, these people being sort of and these super entrenched interests, absent like a large organized labor movement. I don't know.
Right.
It seems like a very difficult situation to get around. What does
Right.
that even look like?
Right.
And I don't know. And it seems like the what people are obsessed about is the thing that you and I aren't obsessed about, with this type of horse race thing, and it just doesn't seem interesting at all. Here we got a question from Patrick Link. Patrick Link asks, any idea? This is a Derek question. Any idea when and how the economic shock from the Iran war will become undeniable? Derek, I've been curious about this myself.
I mean, undeniable for whom? Like, the Trump administration can deny it forever, and the rubes that believe anything that these people say will go right along with it. I think it's undeniable now. I mean, oil prices
Through
are
oil?
up.
How so? What
Yeah, I mean, oil prices are up. I mean, it's hard to separate out the specific effect, I guess, of the Iran war amid the cumulative effect of the Houthis now shutting down Bab el Mandeb, and what's happening in the Black Sea, where nothing is getting out, basically, and you've got one of the biggest grain conduit, like shipping conduits in the world, that's been closed off both to the Russians and the Ukrainians because they keep attacking each other's ports. But cumulatively, like, food prices are going up, oil prices are up. uh, I think the situation in the Red Sea is a little bit trickier because it's still not clear what Ansarallah is doing. Like, they say they're blockading just the Saudis, um, but overall traffic through Bab el Mandeb is way down. So that may take some time to really shake out. But, like, you know, prices are up. I don't know how you could deny, uh, like, objectively, how you could deny that there's been an economic shock from this conflict. If you're looking for like a breaking point, maybe when the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve runs out, that we're still tapping into, or maybe if the Chinese government finally says, like, we can't continue to curtail our demand for oil like this. We have to start buying in larger quantities, because that's suppressed prices to some degree. It's slowed down, let's say, the increase. So those are some things that a couple of things that could uh, cause oil prices to spike again. And we've talked about this too. Like, there is, I think, a disconnect between what the market is expecting prices to be a month from now, or 10 months from now or 5 months from now, versus what the market actually can bear, or like what the supply is right now. And at some point, like, that's got to come due. Like, you would think that you've got to realize that these shortages aren't going to end, just because Donald Trump goes on Truth Social and says a deal's close and it's going to get everything we want, and Iran has surrendered for the 87th time, only to have the Iranians say, no, we haven't, and go back into the cycle of escalation. Like, at some point, I don't know. It's baffling to me that it hasn't already happened. But how long are you how long are people gonna get the Fell Forward Award? Like, how many times do we have to go through this before things finally really start to go in a more troubling direction?
Yeah, this I don't know. I was about to say I want something big to happen, but you never really want something big to happen.
No.
I want
Yeah.
something clarifying to happen, right? We've been in sort of a stage of non-clarification for quite a long time, and that's very annoying and frustrating. But like, it doesn't seem like any of that is going to become it's just going to happen. Like, we're just going to be doing this forever, you know?
I mean, post-truth. Like, we're in a post-truth world, man. These guys just say whatever they want, and it has no factual basis. Like Chris Wright, the energy secretary, was on X the other day saying like more oil is getting out of the Persian Gulf now than before the war. Like, come on, man. He's just making numbers up. He's making making numbers up of the amount of oil that's still getting through the Strait of Hormuz and how much is being transported by pipeline to the Red Sea or to the Omani coast, for example. But they just invent whatever reality they want to live in at any given time, and we don't have a mechanism in the media or our political system or anything really to deal with people like that. I've thought this for a long time. Like, we don't have we don't have the tools to grapple with a government that just lies all the time in the most obvious and easily checkable ways, but they don't give a shit because their message is getting out and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I don't know how to counter that.
Right. It just seems like impossible to counter because nothing matters and nothing changes. I don't understand this super chat, but I will read it.
Give it a shot. Seems like more up your alley anyway. So
I don't understand it. Hold on. I'm trying to see. We got all okay. Saw crab apple lip. National question cage match. Bauer versus Len. Oh, I see. Bauer versus Lenin versus Luxembourg versus a Golan conjured by the Bund. Who wins? Luxembourg. Easy question. Next. Don't ask a dumb question. No,
short and sweet.
I saw a video was going viral the other day, basically just of Nick Fuentes just insulting his audience. It's just like we live in such a strange moment, Derek, where
yeah,
it's just a very weird moment that doesn't really make much sense. So, Derek, I feel like today's going to be a short one unless
people
anyone wants to ask any questions. We've given you beautiful free content. I actually wrote a lot this week, and I'm going to write twice a week, every week on the pod.
Yeah, let's talk about that. How's your first couple of weeks?
Good. I got a ton of
Substack
free subscribers, which is nice.
Nice.
I think it's going to be a learning curve to learn how to write like really quickly, but also substantively. I think that's going to be difficult, but I think it'll be good discipline. But yeah, so we're going to publish two. I'm working with Mark Sussman, as I already told you, of the Glenn Show. We're going to publish two pieces every week going forward. I think we're going to start paywalling soon. You do all these business things, so it's kind of interesting running this business situation here, which is also kind of weird.
I noticed you started using the Substack Twitter
notes, not much, but
notes. Yeah, you said I think what your first thing was two Twitters is one Twitter too many, which
is correct.
Yes,
but apparently you have to do it for discovery.
I don't. I like tweet out. Like, I don't know. I post my newsletters, but I haven't used that thing for like actual commentary in a long
think
time.
People do. I mean, it really does seem like people do engage in it, but maybe not that much. But I don't know. It's like
I'm sure they do. I just I can't do it. Like, I should probably get off Twitter altogether.
I don't know.
That's the one that I still post on.
Yeah, no, Twitter.
And then there's like Blue Sky. What am I supposed to do with that? And then the notes on Substack. What am I supposed to do with that? Like, I don't have enough original thoughts in my head to sustain more than one social media outlet, frankly.
I know all of these hot takes. All right, Derek, it doesn't seem like people are. I think everyone's in the doldrums of August.
It is the dog days.
It is the dog days, and then it gets back to September, and then things heat up in the.
What would be helpful is if somebody came up with a way that we could bundle all of the left foreign policy content on Substack in a productive way that makes money for everybody. But
I don't think there is a way to do that because not
I
enough
don't
people
think there
are
is either.
subscribing.
Yeah.
Like the big failure of the podcast age and the newsletter age is like first, like creating bundles of things. It doesn't really work, you
Right.
know. So like everyone just has to be their own independent operator effectively. Like all the podcast network things except the Bill Simmons one failed.
Yeah.
And then basically if you start bundling Substacks, you're just a magazine. And people,
Right. I mean, you're reinventing the magazine, and then
yeah,
how do
from
you
first
divvy that
principles,
up? And like, yeah,
as people say
it's.
today. So it's like, what's even the point, you know?
I don't know. The only one who's cracked it, I guess, is Barry Weiss. I mean, she made it work
But I feel like
in a
Barry
big
had
way.
like a lot of independent um, support, to say the least.
How dare you? Are you suggesting that she had financiers that were backing her in
I would
her
never suggest that,
in
Derek.
her work, and that she wasn't just a grassroots effort built from the ground up on the basis of small subscriber contributions? That's please get a
Yeah,
grip, man.
it that is very much the case. All right, Derek. We'll give people 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Somebody ask a question. Come on, we can do this. We can
We've
go
been doing
on.
this for 40 minutes. I feel like people have gotten there
We
free.
haven't gotten to 40 minutes yet. I feel like we should
No one
get
did.
there, but
No one's asking a question, dog. No one's asking a
um,
question, Derek. No one cares. No one cares what we
nobody
have to
cares.
say.
Yeah,
Nobody
I
cares.
get it. I get it.
Yeah. All right. All right, everybody. Let's all get more pumped up for next week. As I always say, I love you all, and you're all my personal friends, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.